that tried to instill in kids the virtues of eating good foods. You may have seen it before.
So, okay, let me convert some schedule again. So today we're supposed to have a homework one. Today is like October 2nd, homework one. And next week we have the holiday, right? So next week is also a holiday. No class. October 10 or 9? 9. Holiday. So October 16, we're supposed to have a homework 2. Very similar to the homework 1, but I want you to talk about another trade war between Japan and South Korea. So I think these two are quite interesting, and if we have time, maybe you can do a comparison. But this time, I think homework 1 and 2 should be enough. So let's talk about two big trade war and see what's going on. And October 23. No class, because we rescheduled to December 6th. I mentioned before I arranged a visiting tour. But if you have a conflict schedule, that should be fine. You can feel free to decide whether to attend or not. Okay, December 6th. So we have a visiting tour schedule. So no class. Okay? And then
October 24.
company for worry about it. Oh, okay. Is this
17.
17? Okay.
10.
10. Okay. All right. Base third?
Yeah, sir. 3.
Oh, so, okay. Interesting. Missing holiday. Okay. All right. So I think let's talk about the midterm presentation or midterm report. For the midterm project, first of all, I said midterm project. I decided to give you two chances. One all of them. Depends on what you need. So traditionally, I will ask my students to have a midterm presentation, maybe around 10 minutes, to introduce one company from the perspective of the supply chain management. So maybe you can talk about a company, where the upstream of that company, the downstream, which means where the procurement is raw material, or what kind of product is sold to which customers. And sometimes we talk about the middle level, maybe talk about his competitor. Traditionally, I ask students to do a presentation, but sometimes I found some students doesn't like the presentation. They like to write a report. I don't know, but after a couple of years, I found students maybe two streams. Most of them like to do a presentation, but very few of them doesn't like to say something. My case is, this time I decided to try. So I give you choice. You can determine to stand here to give me a 10-minute presentation, and no need to prepare any report. Or you can just submit your report, no need to do a presentation. So either way, fine with me. But give you a chance. You can choose which way you like. For example, like you think your presentation style is very not that good. Maybe you like to write down report. Okay. My report is also limited less than 10 pages because I don't want you to copy and paste a lot of garbage information, but try to write down whatever you want to show me. That's it good now. So you can choose the presentation or summary report, okay? If very few people choose the presentation, then I can make some other slides after your presentation. Okay, I can give you other materials. So you can feel free to decide which way you like. And then I will try to count again October 17th. So now you can start to prepare your midterm report. No matter you want to go presentation or go submit your report. but you can better decide. So number one, how to prepare that? First of all, step one, try to choose one company. Think about which company you like. Maybe some people like Apple, and Apple have this very sufficient information on this website. So you can see Apple try to list all his raw material supplier, more than like 200 or 300 companies. But you can imagine that it will be very huge task. Some of my previous students, they may shorten the level, so they not just talk about Apple. They may talk about one of the suppliers of the Apple. Then you have the 200 or 300 candidates. You can choose one of them. Maybe some people may talk about, I don't know, Tesla or Coca-Cola or whatever company you like. I don't have any preference, so just feel free. And a couple years ago, people introduced like a very domestic company. So it may be not an international brand. So maybe it's just one famous company in, for example, like in Mongolia, and market share rate very high. That'll be fine. Yeah, fine for me. Because like I want to just introduce one company. And then step one, choose one company. Step two, how to get information from that company. See if they have a website. Okay, some company, very traditional company, they may not have the very good information show on the website. So sometimes like for accounting purpose, every year they have like annual accounting report, and you can download that. So those accounting report will show the whole detailed information for that company. In Taiwan, we call the 公开说明书，会计的，这是in Taiwan. I'm not so sure for every international, but if that big brand, very famous enough, supposed to have enough. Yeah. Okay, and then since you only have 10 minutes, so what kind of thing you want to show me? Maybe you can quickly standing on the supply chain viewpoint, so you will be very wide. So number one, you can talk about what kind of main product, what kind of market share rate they have, what kind of their main competitor, or what's their future strategy. Or you can, if they don't have show any future strategy, you can, after reading so many information, maybe you can point out what's the next step this company should do. You can give them some advice, although the owner may not have a chance to listen to your report. I think it's a good training for you because after your graduation, most of you will join different companies. Then you will have a contribution for different companies. Someday, if you are really become a manager, no matter entry level manager or middle level manager, you will have a chance to propose some strategy for the highest level. So think about it. You can try to do some practice in advance. So this report is also very important because some companies, they don't know how to position themselves. They even don't know how to make the next step development. So for example, if you're standing on the Apple side, if you look at the iPhone's whole sales record, certainly you can try to grab more supplemental material. For example, you don't need to just stay in the Apple and do a very you can, for example, if I were you, I would try to analyze the past 10 years all iPhone sales statistics, and then I will see what's going on. If you found, for example, you can easily to observe like the trend become decreasing year by year. Then how would you suggest? To stay in the iPhone or try to see whatever you could do? Then I think like your report will become very surprising and very good. Okay? So again, I give you most of freedom, but you can try to show your idea during the report. And fundamentals stay with that company. But again, you can feel free to give more like ideas based on this very fixed information. All right, any question or comments? So for presentation, everyone's supposed to have like 10 to 12 minutes, but no more than 12, because we have so many students. I'm a little bit worried about if you spend like 4 hours or 5 hours. I'm not so sure. If you want to submit a report, that's fine. Like, I will have a different standard. I will try to balance that. Okay, I will make sure the evaluation will not be biased. Either you choose the presentation or choose the summary report. I will try my best to adjust it. So you can feel free to determine which way you like to go. Traditionally, I would try to force everyone to do a presentation, but someone really argue with me. They say they are not really good at a presentation, maybe due to the language barrier or other things. So this time I decided to give you more choice. Okay, I think that'll be fine. All right. So if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand in whatever time. Let me know. All right. So and all of the schedule, I try to put this. Okay. So this is the midterm report. And then we will have the midterm exam. For midterm exam, you can try to prepare one A4 pages in both sides, write down whatever information you need. I think most of the exam will be short, showed from my slides. So you can feel free to read my slides and write down whatever information you need in these both pages and bring it. So during the midterm exam, you can have one page with you. I don't want you to remember everything, just realize what you learned. That'll be good enough. And I would say maybe 50% of the whole midterm exam will be very easy and simple. So which means 50% if you read the whole slides and you make a very good notes, then you can have a very good scores at 50%. For the another 50%, I will try to give you more thinking. So maybe I will just give you a news to read and ask you some questions, or I will give you some figure, try to read this figure, tell me what happened, and give me some suggestions. So I would say not very difficult, so but still, 50% were from my slides, very fundamental knowledge. Just prepare that, okay? So you can have one of pages, both sides. You can write down very tiny, small words. It's fine. I just give you a space. Okay. If everything should be fine, let's move to how we learned last week. And then today I have another slide. Okay, I think last week we end up here, right? We talked about the network planning and very simple Toy network. So we start from the two material supplier to the two warehouse and versus 3 different retailer sites. And let you try to see how to arrange your production and distribution plan. And although through optimization, we can have a very ideal case, but should be fine. Because in practice, most of people doesn't know how to do optimization. But at least you have to prepare the capability to develop some initial plan, and you can improve all the way. So after that, last week I tried to ask you one simple question. Sometimes we talk about make to order, sometimes we try to say make to stock or produce to stock. And I say during the supply chain system, we have a pull or push and pull. So which one should be push?
Produce to stock.
Very good. Produce to stock or make to stock, which means they produce in advance and try to sell at the end. We call the push because you want to do something. Pull means like you receive the order, then you start to make that. So we have the two terms, make to order or push to stock. So what will happen? Let's introduce another more complicated figure. Some terminology, let me quickly introduce here. SI, S, and T. What's the meaning of SI? You can see. Time between an order placed until received shipment. Usually we would say like a lead time. You place the order until you receive. The gap, time gap, we try to talk about lead time. And sometimes people will give you another term called incoming service time. But generally we talk about like a lead time. Let me write down that. So lead time is the time gap between you place your order to receive that. For example, you're shopping something online, you place the order, For example, this morning I just shopping one item, and then maybe you receive it in 3 days later. So this first time will be 3 days. And the second term is we call it S, capital S. This commit service time, which means like some factory, then they promise their customer, say, you place your order and I will finish your order in 1 month. So it's kind of deadline. Usually they will promise some deadline, and they are related. And third time is the processing time. Sometimes you order some raw material, you try to assemble and manufacture and give your end product to your customer. So you may need some processing time. Okay? In general, like the lead time plus processing time will be greater or equal to your deadline. Because your deadline, you promise a deadline, you better to go back to check how many times you need to do the cargo processing, how many times you need to do the lead time to order your raw material. So the process is you order your raw material, you start to processing or assemble or manufacture that, and deliver your end product to your customer. So then the deadline will be short. So it looks like this way. If we have a more stage supply chain system, more stage means they have lots of supplier and lots of customer along the whole supply chain. And then we will try to draw this kind of figure. So customer, they have each of like their own like the deadline. They have different deadline, but this deadline is based on the lead time and the processing time. Lead time and processing time. Okay? So they have this kind of way. And here we have several terms, but it depends on lead time and the promise time will be a little bit tricky. So for example, if you were a customer, do you like to extend very long deadline? Definitely not. You want to receive your cargo. We talked about last week. You want to receive your cargoes as soon as possible. So even for a B2B, you talk about business to business, you may want to receive your whole bunch of the cargoes very soon. How to finish that? Think about your raw material provider. They want to finish their product very soon. So here you will see like the poor strategy may not feasible because lead time will be very long. What's the meaning of poor? You receive the order, you start to produce, then you will generate big problem because the lead time will be very long. You receive order, you start to purchase your raw material, then you start to assemble, manufacture, and deliver to your customer. Your customer must be waiting for a long time. How to finish? How to improve that? If you stay in this kind of poor strategy, poor system. Some people may say, let's try to push, but the reason they will choose poor, maybe last week we talked about some, for example, like the aircraft, they may not be able to produce in advance. They have to start to produce until they receive the order. Marine tank container ship, maybe. So, I mean, if you're standing on this aircraft company like the Boeing or like the Airbus, but your customer must have a long lead time. How to improve that?
Make the deadline longer.
Hmm?
Make the deadline longer.
Make the deadline longer, but
So you don't have to promise so much.
very good, but very interesting because like if you look at aircraft market, there are two main competitors, Boeing versus Airbus. If your lead time is very, very long, infinitely long, they will switch to another one. Because both of them share even equally market share. So maybe it's not a good idea. So you have to maintain your reasonable. Yeah. How to do that? Semi-conductor. And also
We can build a relationship with suppliers so they can send to us as soon as possible.
okay, both of them very good. Number one, let's talk about the first strategy. If we try to make some semi-product as possible, so yes, they do so. We talk about a postponement strategy. They try to do some semi-product in advance, but don't do too much because eventually they need to do some customize. Number two is also very good strategy. Try to build up the relationship between your supplier. Then make sure they give you enough and timely like the support for your raw material. Okay, those two are very good. So you will see. And let me show you some. Okay, so right now people try to do some hybrid strategy to push and pull. This is another third strategy we show on our textbook, which means we go back to look at how our supply chain production line to make sure which part should be stuck, and we try to improve that. So try to look at the bottleneck in your whole supply chain. How to do so? Let me give you some example. Okay, so let's read this figure. This is a traditional way. Let me quickly introduce. This example shows like that if we want to finish your part one, maybe you have lots of parts. The part one, they will come from the part two plus part three, assembled together. So part two means like the two of part two plus one part three will assemble to one part one. Okay, this is a very small supply chain. And what else? You will see the value. So part one value is $200 each. Part two is like a 0.5, very cheap, very small item. And part three is also very expensive, even more than the part one. But sometimes they need to do so. It depends on your market. Although it's a little bit unreasonable because in the practical world, not too many people will do this kind of way. At least these two numbers should be switched. So let's ignore that right now. And what kind of other information you will see here? We have a 30 and 50. 50, you will see different items. So these two means the time. What kind of time you need? You will see the white box is like commitment to the next stage, your deadline. So which means you promise your customer you will deliver your part one in next month. Okay, this means the processing time. So which means if you promise you have to deliver your cargo in 30 days, and your processing time should be 15 days, which means you have to finish your raw material procurement within 15 days, another 15 days. So 15 plus 15 will be equal to 30, or less than. Then you go back to look at the previous, your upstream. Here is downstream, because close to a customer we call downstream. If you go back to the more raw material supplier, we call it upstream. For the upstream side, you will find a part two. Okay, the promising time will be 0, which means they may be together, maybe neighborhood or very close area, so they can immediately deliver for you. And the processing time is 5 days, so maybe you may still need some days. But you can find the part 3 is very tremendous high. So 88 days, which means they need a lot of time to produce in advance. Still they need processing time, so which means you need to deal with this in very early days, maybe early, more than 90 days, or even earlier. And then you can finish that. So you look at the whole supply chain, they have different parts have a different requirement. You have to check that and see whether to put your items in a good way. One more information is this way. This means the safety stock. If more gray color means you prepare more inventory in advance. If empty means you put nothing. You have to receive the order and start to produce. So for example, maybe this value is very high. If you produce too much inventory, maybe if you cannot sell out, you will lose lots of money. So maybe they will stay here. You can imagine that, like the aircraft, value is very high. They won't be just produced to stock, because if they produce and cannot sell very well, the company will lose lots of money. So you will find most of the high value products almost empty here. Certainly we can talk about details. For you can see these cheap legal items, they can do some safety stock. And for here, even they have some more safety stock. So if they cannot finish very well at the beginning, they can in response to the order. Okay, why we need to put so many safety stock here? Because of this. This is very high value, and also if they use just poor strategy, which means this way you cannot always put the same strategy. So you will find like here is pull, here they use the push. because if you receive order, you can use a safety stock to do in advance. Okay, so that's a fundamental idea. How to adjust that? You will find where will be the possible bottleneck here. For the current supply chain system, pass-through will become one major bottleneck because the raw material order they need 88 days and they need 50 days to finish that. So here we also empty. They don't have any safety stock. So this will be a very high bottleneck position. If you order more than this level, then it will become a main bottleneck. So how to improve that? You can find this figure. So this is a traditional case that background of that. You can go back home to read and they will just know. This is a traditional method for that case study company. And this is what they do. But we can do something more. So you will find like they try to adjust that this is a traditional way, have very high safety stock here, and then we go back to go more upstream. You find why part 3, they have so many preparation day because we look at this upstream. The part 4, part 5, and part 6 will assembly to part 3. And you will find that part 4 and part 5 and part 6 have different like requirements. Certainly, you can easily observe like part 6 become another problem. Because part 6 push a very high preparation day, so they will delay the production time for the part 3. Part 4 and part 5 should be covered less than that, so they could pick that peak cover. It's not bottleneck anymore. And then we go back upstream more. You found that part 7 will cause another problem. Because part 7 maybe still need a very high day. So if you just look at it, this part, you think maybe you just stop this. But if you examine the whole supply chain system, maybe you found that maybe you just need to finish it. Then you can improve all the way the others. So that's the main idea. Why we talk about the supply chain system and go through the whole network system. We can go back to more upstream to see what's going on for the whole bottleneck. So how to improve that? For example, how to improve that part 7? And part 6 and part 3? How to improve the whole system? Any idea?
You have to have a safety stock for part 7.
Very good. Why? You can check the value. Part 7 is very cheap. It doesn't harm for you to prepare lots of safety stock. Part 6 also, just $3 should be fine. You can put as much as possible. However, in the part 7, the part 3 is very high value, maybe not suitable to put so many safety stock here. But at least you can try your best to shorten here. Okay? So this is a traditional way. Their safety stock course, they will count like every year how many money they could spend on safety stock. What's the meaning of a safety stock cost? You prepare some inventory in advance, maybe they cannot be sold out. Maybe the meaning safety stock means they are not the original plan you want to produce. You just produce for prepare. Just in response to the demand fluctuation. Sometimes demand will be very high. So if you have a safety stock, you can handle that. But sometimes demand will be very normal or demand shortage. Then your safety stock will become really safe. So you will spend lots of money because they cannot be sold out. So they still have some cost, just in response to the whole supply chain system. But ideally, you can easily observe several things. Number 1, find your bottleneck. Number 2, see which value is lower. Try to put some safety stock there. So in this case, I would suggest that you put more effort on the part 6 and part 7.
What about part 2?
Very good. Part 2 you can put more because it's very cheap, right?
But cheaper than
Yeah. But you will see like the main bottleneck will be located on this street. If you, for example, like because here is they only need 5 days, so you put here maybe you can shorten to a very immediate short time, maybe 1 day or 2 days. But the main bottleneck stay here, especially for the 88 days. And 88 days maybe come from part 6 because we have 30 days, and part 7 we have nearly 58 days. So try to look for where is a truly bottleneck. Certainly we can put some safety stock here. I think should be fine. Should be because the whole cost is very cheap. Okay, so you can understand like the main operation level. Alright, so the following slides just show how they adjust the whole system. So you can observe, you can see sometimes they start to put something here. And if you put more safety stuff here, then certainly you can significantly reduce the preparation time for the class 6 and class 3. And then you can make sure here we don't need to put any safety stuff because the whole processing time you could able to finish that very soon. Because 13 this is the delivery time, sorry about that, I forgot to talk about the translation time. Then we need 2 days to transport here. But doesn't matter. So 13 plus 2 plus 15 less than 30. Equal to 30. So which means like you just solve your bottleneck problem, you can solve the whole supply chain quite a lot. So key point is where is your bottleneck? Alright, so lots of my students do the purchasing or procurement. The company will want you to maintain a whole material and product flow, go very smoothly. But you better to check the whole thing every day. Alright, so you can see they keep adjust that and eventually. This may be a more like the complicated network, but as I mentioned before, the whole automobile, one car, they need to more than 2,000 parts. So you can imagine this huge picture. Although in the right now in the company they have the commercial software to help you. So you just look at the whole commercial software, you can get some information. But better you have to know how to adjust that. Okay, so I think that's it. We left on last week. Okay. Alright, so how to determine the we call the push-pull boundary. So sometimes you will use the push strategy here. Sometimes you will use a pull, where we can define where is the boundary between that. Some may be hybrid, depends. Okay, so number one, we try to determine where is the push-pull and boundary, and try to do some risk pooling. So you can, using safety stack very well, you can share the risk. What kind of risk? For the whole, shortage, very good. For the whole supply chain system, major risk is like the raw material shortage. What kind of thing will cause the raw material become shortage?
Scarcity.
Price,
Price?
Scarcity.
inflation,
Yeah, it's true. And also,
inflation.
lots of way. Okay, let me one by one talk about it. Number one, price. Price definitely. Raw material price if they become very high, maybe you will a little bit reluctant to purchase so many raw material. If they are very cheap, then you can try to do so. But you will worry about you purchase a lot. Maybe it will become cheaper. Like the oil price. No one really can